Yo, what is going on, Comfy Gang? It's your boy, Comfy NEET. And the night of me shooting this is supposed to be the most important night of our time, the most important election of our time. At least, well, especially for those who live in North America. But I guess everyone in the world is being told this because, well, the leader of the free world is being elected, apparently. And, I guess it is sort of important. But I thought this would be a pretty good chance, a pretty appropriate time to talk about the reasons I have given up on politics and basically why I choose not to pay attention to it anymore, and why I think other NEETs and basically anyone who's watching this shouldn't care either. So I guess can't really make this video without talking briefly about my political history. I think, as I've mentioned before, I've been on both sides of the political spectrum. At one point, I was a utopian socialist, I guess you could call it, based on all the stuff that Peter Joseph talks about in his Zeitgeist Moving Forward documentary, and other reasons as well. I guess like my high school background, all of my teachers were pretty liberal, so that kind of influenced me in that way to become left. And then eventually there was a few things I was wrong. I was kind of like at odds with in terms of like the left, and then that led me down the rabbit hole of right-wing YouTube content, and then I kind of just binge watched that. And then I became further and further right. I didn't go all the way to the far right, but I'd say like I was fairly right-wing, and eventually I kind of realized that, the shit is fucking pointless. I'll get into that in a bit, but yeah, I just realized that, both sides have their points depending on the issue, and even in every single issue, both sides do have their merits in most cases. And then I kind of just decided to be, radical centrist. And then I realized that, there's no point thinking about politics when I'm not going to have an impact on anything anyways. So I said, fuck it, I'm just not going to give a crap and become apolitical. And that's where I currently stand now. And personally, I believe that, everybody should be apolitical because, well, not everybody, but I think NEETs especially, I'm pretty sure most NEETs are already apolitical to an extent. All NEETs are pretty much disillusioned with the political system because I think fundamentally, you don't really get much of a say in any election in the first place. And, there's always going to be people behind the scenes who are in positions of power, pulling the strings and making sure certain people are going to be the choices on the ballot. Just like, for example, how they pretty much shafted Andrew Yang, just like they shafted out Bernie Sanders and then bought him out. And, it's like, yeah. So my point is that if you want to make it, I guess your political opinions only really matter when at the point in time you get to that position where you're able to influence who is and who isn't on the ballot. And let's face it, as a voter, that's not you for the most part. Obviously, I take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm a NEET, and my opinions are, pretty much worth shit. But that's exactly my point, is that my opinions are worth shit. And, my vote, if I were to ever make one, would probably be based on so much misinformation and lack of knowledge. And, first, I feel like me voting would be pretty much be doing the service to whatever country I lived in, if it even really mattered in the first place, because I feel like, a vote is just one vote, first of all. And secondly, you're most likely not even voting for someone who you would have voted for if you actually had, a meaningful impact on who got to be on the ballot, like I was talking about before. But yeah, that's one reason why I want to be apolitical. Another reason why is just the whole nature of politics is that it's basically, well, it inherently makes people needlessly, self-righteous. And you know how there's this idea of mentally masturbating, where you think about thoughts that make you feel good, or like, for example, you fantasize about you living this ideal life, and then you keep thinking about that thought and then how you're gonna fix everything, and then you kind of just get high off that. Not high literally, but like you get addicted to that sort of thought. I think politics is sort of like a subset of that, where it's moral masturbation, where you basically, think about, your side of the aisle, or you think about these ideas, and then you come up with all these reasons, and you think about you remember things that you've heard about a certain topic, and then you form these opinions, and then, not that there's anything wrong with doing this from time to time, or if you're like a political, whatever, politics student and you're going to go into like politics in the future, or, whatever. If you are, maybe someone who might have an impact on other people's lives, like as a business owner or as a person of influence or whatever. But for the most part, you're really just thinking of these thoughts, and, you're getting worked up over them, and then you feel good. You feel like you're on the right side of history. You're on the right side of the political aisle, or that, you have the right opinion about this thing. And then, you're designed to feel good. It's kind of like a byproduct of our primitive, primate brain, our tribal brains. And, and then you get into the whole thing where there's people who don't agree with you, who are on the other side of the political aisle, and then you debate them. Sometimes you win the argument, and then you feel self-righteous because you prove them wrong. And then some people who I've listened to in these YouTube videos are saying like, oh, politics is won in our day-to-day conversations. It's the war of ideas, and you have to have a stake in fucking politics, and fucking debate people who you disagree with, because you need to change their minds. And eventually the truth pisses people off, but then it sets them free, whatever, shit like that. And that you're supposed to debate people. But then past a certain, it's kind of true, I guess. But at the same time, I got into long tirades in the comment sections. I've debated people, and then, won a few debates. Well, it's the YouTube comment section. I'm not saying I'm smart or informed. You're obviously gonna beat people in the YouTube comment section at some point, and but in reality, when you win these arguments, you're not gonna change their mind, first of all, for the exact same reason that when you lose an argument, you're still gonna somehow cling to your old ideas. And so you're not gonna change their opinions, but you're really doing it because it makes you feel good that you beat them. That's one level of it. And it's also the idea that, it's like you have these like self-congratulatory thoughts in your head that you're better than the other person, that, you're more informed, that maybe you're more intelligent than them, that, you're just a better human being than them. And that's just, politics just is somehow so deeply interfaced with our tribal brains that it just makes us feel these thoughts. And then when you're debating people, and when you lose, you just feel terrible because you feel like your whole world is turned upside down. I'm pretty sure your dopamine tanks or something, and it's just all these things. And obviously it's good to have your opinions questioned and challenged from time to time, but then it's addicting too. It's like anything can be an addiction, but politics is probably one of the most addicting things, because you get the same feelings of self-righteousness when you binge watch people who you agree with, and you listen to their opinions and say, hey, that makes sense. Hey, I agree with that. Hey, I agree with this person, and this person is smart, therefore I'm smart. Or, hey, I've read this and I'm formed this opinion, and therefore that makes me this and that. But in reality, at the end of the day, outside of, maybe changing one person's opinion on the off chance that you actually manage to, you're pretty much doing jack shit to the world. I think you would have a much greater impact on your own personal life and on the world, just, trying to fix the things that are unique to you, because at the end of the day, we're all individuals with, I guess, I'm not going to say unique circumstances, but we all have our individual circumstances, our individual flaws and strengths, and it's better just to work on yourself if that's what you want, or just, if anything, just have fun, because at the end of the day, shit is entirely meaningless, and, you might as well pursue the things that matter to you, or just, go along for the ride and have fun while doing it, versus getting all worked up and pissed off and upset and, having your cortisol levels spike, caring about what this candidate thinks, or, debating this person. Because, and also going back to the idea that, of what your ability to impact the world, I feel like this whole idea of, your vote counting, not that any NEETs vote, but I think I'm sort of addressing, maybe any ex-NEETs or people who aren't NEETs, I guess, like wages, that this idea that your vote, yeah, I'm not gonna say that it doesn't have an impact, especially if you do elect, candidates do have their differences and they do create different laws and different circumstances, but I think at the end of the day, you can still live a pretty meaningful life, pursuing the things that matter to you. I don't think we're at the point where we're having to choose between leaders that will, prevent you from playing guitar or writing music or having opinions, or, things like that. Although that is sort of, maybe some people might disagree with me, and I understand. But yeah, with like all the PC stuff, for example, I do sort of disagree with it, but at the same time, it's like, until the point where, they're going to say they're starting to implement like actual like censorship laws, okay, maybe this is happening, maybe it isn't, but regardless, like, I still think you could live, at least there's always going to be things that are in your control. So while I guess, maybe you might as well go vote if you have the chance. I think what I'm trying to say is that you shouldn't get worked up over it more than you have to. I think you should just vote for whatever you believe is right, and, occasionally have your opinions challenged, but don't obsess over it, at least the way I used to, and watch all these videos, because all these political videos are highly entertaining and they make you feel good, but it's just more consumption, more consuming, more needless, whatever, strife and argument, and even negative emotions themselves can be addicting, because, you kind of rebound from the negative emotions to feeling positive, and I have no fucking clue how any of this shit works, but that's my point. I think, at least for me personally, but I think what I say probably applies to a lot of people, you're probably better off just focusing on the things that matter to you. Like, for me, it's music and MMA and, this channel, I guess, and, maybe, improving myself, like, for example, improving my ability to control my emotions and all this crap like that. I think improving that would not only not change my life more than any sort of vote or politician would, but also impact the lives of the people that I interact with. Because, well, when you're a certain way, you basically, your fucking, I'll just call it energy, your energy rubs off on people. If you're pissed off all the time, then chances are you're just going to piss people off and cause a lot of suffering while making yourself miserable. But if you're a pretty chill person, you're pretty happy, the hope is that you basically, you make people less stressed by being around you. And I think and even on like a business level, like, I'm not saying owning a business is a be all and end all of existence, but I mean, if you do own a business or you do pursue a career in something that really matters to you, then you're probably gonna shape people's lives way more than any fucking politician or vote would. So my point is just work on yourself, or, you know, even you just stepping out and, you know, Eldaring, but having a good time while doing it. I think, you know, you're impacting your life profoundly more than whatever, politician vote. I'm repeating myself, but I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I'm just an ignorant NEET and I don't really know shit, nor am I well-informed or intelligent enough to make any really foolproof opinions. This is just my opinion. I think, that's pretty much all I have to say. Anyways, this is Comfy NEET signing out. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below. I'm sure that there's flaws in my logic or whatever, but whatever. Peace.